Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So sorry for the delay. We had some technical difficulties, which were totally my fault. We're gonna wait probably just one more minute to let people get a chance to get logged in, and then we will get started. And Taya, I'm gonna share my screen and make sure you can see everything while we wait.
All right.
So that is what we're after. Can you see the Lincoln plan?
Sure can.
Perfect. Okay. All right. We're at 12:04. I think that's a good time to get going. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am sorry again about the delay getting the meeting started. I typed my password in wrong so many times that I locked myself out of my account. So, it was 100% operator error, but we are here now. I'm Katie Smith. I am a home ownership counselor for Adair, and I work in the Crestwell, Oregon branch. And Taya, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure thing. My name is Taya Bertram, and I am also a home ownership counselor. I work in the Magic Valley office in Idaho, which is over by Twin Falls.
Perfect. So Taya and I are trying something kind of new. We've never had two different Build Territories co-hosts before, but we thought it might be nice to have multiple states represented, so we can kind of speak as to how things may differ from build area to build area. So, and then of course she is going to be monitoring the Q&A function as I talk, and maybe throwing in questions of her own as we go. So please, if you have questions, throw them out. There is a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Type in any questions you think of. Taya will call them out. We'll pause sporadically. We'll probably pause a lot because this video I noticed plays really quickly. But this will be fun. This is a beautiful house. I'm excited to talk about it. So we will just get started. So we are showing off today the Lincoln plan. And this is a 2,500 square foot house. It is a single level, but with a bonus room over the garage. So this is one of my favorite plans. I want to show you some of the optional exterior elevations and then show you the elevation that this family picked, the one we're going to be showcasing today. This is the Traditions elevation. So you can see it's got the lap siding on the bottom, the batten board in the peaks, the trimmed out windows and doors. The next option is what's called Signature. So we got just added a little bit of flair, maybe is the right word. So we've got this raised dental rail here instead of the smooth belly band, and a little bit fancier column wraps. Next is the Craftsman. I'm actually going to come back to this one. We'll go to Farmhouse next. So farmhouse elevation, super cute. It's got the little eyebrow roofs over the windows, the batten board all the way down, this farmhousey garage door and front door, and you can't see them, but there's also a farmhousey light fixture, exterior light. So the only changes from elevation to elevation are on the exterior. But the one we're talking about today is the Craftsman. So the Craftsman has the lap siding at the bottom, the batten board in the middle, and then the actual cedar shake in the gables. So all of our houses, all of our elevations, the siding and trim is all a 50-year fiber cement board. It's James Hardie. The exception to that rule is the cedar on the Craftsman elevations. So you can see you've got your cedar, you've got your dental rail, you've got this Craftsman garage door, Craftsman stained grade front door, and then you can't see it, but there's a tongue and groove under this front entry porch. Just little touches to give it that Craftsman feel. Grids in the windows, so super cute. And this is the style of house I'm going to be showing today. Any questions so far, Taya? Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. I didn't want y'all to hear me typing away over here. We had a few questions that came up, great questions, and I did answer them in the chat group, but I will read them out. So Barbara asked if my build area extended to Idaho Falls, and it does not. I go east about to Burley Declo, and then we cut off. So that is not part of my area. However, we are opening a Idaho Falls build area soon. We've been working on that. So that should be opening soon so that you can chat with someone over in that area.
Super exciting.
Yeah, I'm way excited about that. Marla asked if Adair is able to help with the lot selection process. And while we are not actually realtors, most of us are very familiar with our build area. Obviously, we are certainly happy to help you with information, answer questions and things about the area. And then most of us have realtor partners that we work closely with that we can recommend to you so that you can have them help you with the search and purchase process on the properties.
Perfect. It's all good information.
Yeah, great question.
Okay. Yes. Okay, well, thank you. So let's get into this floor plan a little bit. So I wanted to start with the standard Lincoln floor plan. That's the name of this plan. And then kind of show you the modifications that this family did to theirs. So you can see here is your front entry. You've got this formal dining room, big open great room, kitchen, nook space, and then one wing of the house is the master suite. So big master suite, big master bathroom, ginormous walk-in closet.
I love that closet.
It's my favorite. I love it so much. It even has an optional island in the middle, which is really exciting. So, and then the other wing of the house are the other two bedrooms, the utility room, and then the access to that bonus room over the garage. So what this family did, let me make sure you can see this. Can you see it okay?
Yes.
Okay. So they added a third car bay to their plan, which also increased the size of that bonus room over the garage. And then they just did some little things inside. So they have, instead of this formal dining room here, they added another bedroom. I think this is actually going to be an office, but they've got a little closet in it, so it can go either way. They did an extension to their master suite. So they have this nice sitting area, and then that gave them access directly out to their patio area, so their outdoor kitchen area. And then they also did an extension to the nook. So they've got kind of this nice, even, kind of wind protected back patio area with these extensions they did. Nothing really else structurally. They did do a lot of beautiful upgrades. So I am excited to get into this. Do you have any questions you want to get to before we start the video?
I do not have any questions from the audience, but I do want to just point out, which sometimes folks don't realize when they first start looking at our plans, you can mirror all of our plans, which is what you see between the online plan and this plan for the customer is they flip-flopped it. So you can see the garage went from the left to the right, and that's available on all of our plans.
I'm really glad you pointed that out because I gave no explanation for the change from the website to their version. So thank you for pointing that out.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. This video does go really quickly. So we will pause multiple times. I have to say, meeting with this family, they came in with a clear vision of exactly what they wanted. And I loved all of their design, all of their ideas. They didn't tell me the paint colors they were picking. So this put me over the edge when I saw this. It just turned out beautiful. They have such great style. But you can see here on the outside, they've got their third car bay. So here's their standard 16-foot overhead garage door. Then they've got their 8-foot in the addition. Windows here into the garage, and then the window into that bonus room. They've got their cedar shake that they stained, and then they did their own paint. So the two-tone and the trim work was all them. oh, let's see. Okay, we'll pause for a minute at this 4th bedroom. So normally this is kind of just a big open space. There's an entry here and then an entry on this side, but they closed this wall in and did the double doors and added the closet to kind of make it more of an office-y or bedroom type setup. They did do some upgrades, which I'll try to point out as we go, but starting with the floor. So they've got a luxury vinyl plank in this room. They did an upgrade to recessed lights, which you'll see throughout the whole house. That was one of their biggest things, is they wanted to have matching lights throughout. So, and then they also did a Craftsman style trim. So this is a little bit taller than our standard colonial style. And typically we will just drywall in our windows, and then you can choose to add trim if you like that look. So you can do just a windowsill, you can do the full wrap, or you can do a custom trim setup. These guys did full wrap Craftsman trim on all of their windows. We'll let this play. That trim turned out really great. You'll see as we go these little blue tape marks on the wall. So these are just kind of little touch-ups that they're marking for themselves. Okay. Nice big span of the kitchen and great room, but we will come back to those rooms. So this is the master suite. This is a giant room, especially with that addition that they did. They added some windows in here and a door. So this door that you can kind of see off to the right of the screen is just a full light door they added to go out onto that patio area, that covered area. They did do an upgraded carpet in here. They did the tray ceiling, which I love, and I think there's a little bit better shot of it as we keep going. The full wrap windows, and then they added a couple windows because they have views out multiple sides of their house, so they're just letting all the light in.
I have a question that we can go over.
Perfect.
So Trisha's asking if we can estimate the cost of this house and the trim packages and upgrades. So unfortunately, throwing out numbers on this is a little bit confusing, Trisha. Every build area has different price structures, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So what I would encourage you to do in order to get accurate information for where you want to build, I would have you reach out to your build office and talk with an HOC there so that they can put those numbers together for you and have it be correct.
I love that answer. We always get numbers questions. People want to know numbers, which I totally understand. I feel the same way.
Yeah, can't blame them.
Right, yeah. I will tell you what this family paid to build this house, but I also want to preface that by saying that they ordered this home over a year ago. And as I'm sure you all noticed, there's been kind of some volatility in the market lately. So these numbers are not accurate for today, but I can tell you this family did $100,000 in upgrades, and their total build was about $410,000 for the house. So obviously there's costs that come into play outside of the house, like the land and the site prep, which we'll talk more about. But when they ordered, they did about $100,000 for a $410,000 house, $100,000 in upgrades, sorry. Hope that's kind of helpful. But just like Taya said, if you want more detailed information or more accurate information specific to what you're thinking of doing, definitely feel free to reach out to your local Adair branch. Okay. So this is just a nice view straight down that master suite through the bathroom into the closet.
I love that.
Isn't this pretty?
It really is.
They have, I'll pause right here for a minute. So they did some upgrades in here, and you can see the tub isn't in yet. So we took this video just about a week before they moved in. So there's still some things being finished up, but They did a naughty alder cabinet in here. It's a tobacco stain. You're going to see it again throughout the house. It's beautiful. Um, they did an upgraded drawer pull. I actually think they ended up doing their own instead of having us do it, which is an option. And then you'll see on this vanity over here, we've got this black granite. And typically we do a top mount oval porcelain bathroom sink. These guys decided to do an undermount rectangular sink. And then they've got tile on the floor, tile in the shower, tile on the tub deck. It's just a beautiful bathroom. One thing you'll see too is that they have done a brushed nickel plumbing fixture throughout the house, which of course now, if you were to come in and order, that's our standard. So at the time it was an upgrade and now it's just part of our base package. I don't know if that closet got its full glory with that shot. It's hard to get a good picture of a closet, but it's amazing. This closet is amazing. Typically we'll do a shelf and pull all the way around. These guys were going to do their own kind of more detailed closet organization system, so they just omitted the shelf and pull.
So just to be clear, that entire room that we just panned through is the closet.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Which I still am so excited about.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. So just little details I'll kind of point out here. Usually we do a brushed nickel knob. That's our standard. They went ahead and they preferred the lever style. So they did an oil rub bronze lever, kind of ties into their pulls on their cabinets. And then from here, you can see we have the recessed lights again in this tray ceiling. And then we also did a rough in for a fan, and they brought in their own fan, which is kind of a cool fan they've got here. And then just a nice shot for that full light door going out to the patio area that I wanted to show.
I really love the colors they chose.
Right? They have such great vision. I'm a little jealous. They can just pick and see it in their mind, and I have to see a picture to totally get the full feel for it. So yeah, really impressive. Okay, so let's see, this is a good stop. So we have here, so they did a stacked cultured stone surround on this fireplace. It's actually a propane fireplace too. And then we did a stain grade Hawthorne style mantle here. And then they were able to reach out to our cabinet company and get the stain recipe so they can make their mantle match their cabinets, which I love. A lot of attention to detail in this house, but you can see they've got this upgraded carpet in their great room area, their fireplace, and then they did something really clever, which is, let's see if we can get a better shot. So usually this carpet comes up a little bit closer to the island, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna have stools back here, people are gonna be eating, we don't need that carpet anywhere near the island. So they kind of customized the carpet area. They pushed it back about 1.5 feet towards the fireplace. And then they also brought the island about 1 foot towards this range wall back here. So they kind of just gave themselves a little more space between the edge of the carpet and the edge of the kitchen. Okay, so we'll pause here. This kitchen is amazing. They've got, again, the naughty alder, the tobacco stained shaker style doors. They did the black granite, and then they did this 2x2 tile all the way up. So this is usually one that I've seen people do as a shower floor, but she picked it immediately, like, this is what we need, and it looks beautiful. It was so smart. So beautiful backsplash. They did our gourmet kitchen appliance package, which is the oven here, the 36-inch range top. In this case, it's gas, and they're just set up again with that propane conversion. They've got their 36-inch under cabinet vent hood, and then not pictured over here by the sink is the dishwasher. So at the time that they ordered, we were working with Maytag for our gourmet appliances, and now we're doing Whirlpool or KitchenAid. Let's let this play a bit. So you can just see straight down that galley style kitchen into this extended nook area. So since they ended up using their formal dining room as an office, they extended this and planned to just use the nook as their dining room, which is perfect.
And their flooring in that area is also that luxury vinyl plank, correct?
It is, yes. Yep. I wanted to point out, so for the refrigerator, we don't actually provide the refrigerator. And actually, there's lots of options for appliances in general. But what we do is make the space, and then we have the standard electrical and plumbing hookups so that you just bring your own fridge in and connect it and you're good to go. If you have, kind of a non-standard size fridge, we can accommodate. If you want to provide your own appliances, we can accommodate that as well. So lots of options for kitchen appliances, but as a standard, the fridge is something the customer brings to the table and we just are set up to, plug and play. Okay, so, and you can see kind of this Craftsman trim just carrying throughout the house. One thing that they did here, which probably never would have noticed, is that usually we have bypass doors here in this area. They actually decided to use this giant closet as additional pantry space. So they've got the bifold doors so they can just open up and have, clear, easy access to that entire closet.
What a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is the first of the bedrooms. Something I love about this house, this house should probably just be nicknamed the closet house, but every bedroom has a walk-in closet. So we saw that giant walk-in closet in the master suite, and then each of the guest bedrooms have a walk-in closet as well. So there's a closet access here. The video doesn't actually go into the closet, which was kind of a bummer, but you can see straight into this Jack and Jill style bathroom connecting the two bedrooms. So we have, again, the upgraded tile flooring in the bathroom. We have the naughty alder cabinets, the granite, the undermount sink. They just kind of carried the theme all throughout the house. One thing I love about this bathroom pass-through is you have this giant vanity, and then the toilet and shower off in their own room. So I think we'll cruise right by that room. So I don't even know. You can't even see the door. It's kind of behind one of those other doors, but there is a shower room in that bathroom. And then this just grand purple wall, which I loved. And we've got behind me the second walk-in closet. Okay, any questions?
I'm going to bring up a point. We don't have any more questions in the chat group at this moment, but part of the things that our customers have available during a build is choosing their own paint. And I'm going to bring that up because of that awesome purple wall. And I love this blue that they've chosen for everything. Mm-hmm. So when you get into color selections and coordination of all of your finishes, you can really choose a lot of options to bring that together as a whole picture.
We have customize it, give it a little personal flavor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we just had a question from Anne. She's asking if we have an 8 or a 9-foot plate height.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I totally forgot to talk about it. So
yeah, you want to nail that?
Yes, Anne, thank you so much. So they did the 9-foot plate height, which as a standard, we do an 8-foot, and they wanted to go a little bit taller. So they've got the 9-foot plate height, which is kind of a package deal when you do a 9-foot plate height option with Adair. All of the standard windows and on the first floor become a foot taller. So if you had a standard 5-foot window, it's now going to be a 6-foot. The sliding glass door becomes a foot taller, and then the overhead garage doors become a foot taller, and the upper cabinets in the kitchen are taller. So it's kind of a cool little package. Another thing they did, which I cruised right by, I've looked at this plan so many times, I didn't even think to tell you that they did the vaulted ceiling option. So a flat ceiling is standard. They went ahead and vaulted it with that 9 foot. It just made it kind of this really grand feel. So super nice design touches. I see we have some questions in the Q&A room. I was gonna go down.
My apologies. I did not look over there. Let's see here.
Some really good questions in here.
Well, I'm just going to start at the top here. Mel, you've asked a couple of questions. So we've got, are you able to give us the approximate range of savings when we go to Adair versus other builders? And then you also asked about the basic steps of a feasibility study. So the very first question, again, I'm going to kind of refer back to my first answer. As far as numbers and being super specific, it varies based on your build area, where you're at. So for that, I would again refer you to your actual build office so that you can get some accurate information. And then your...
I do want to, I want to chime in on that if you don't mind, but
yeah.
I will say I love this company. So if I sound incredibly biased, it's because I am, but some of the amazing things about Adair is just the longevity in this market. So they have buying power. So you're going to see, as far as like bringing those prices down and how they make it happen, it's a combination of a lot of things, but just buying power, and then also the ability to keep our subs busy year round. So some solid relationships with subcontractors. So usually, as far as value, you're not going to find a better price. So definitely call your local office and kind of get a price for what you're thinking of doing. You'll be impressed.
Anna had a question that I thought you could probably cover, Katie. Does the $100,000 from the upgrades in this home, did that include the paint and the other homeowner responsibilities?
That's a really good question as well. So they opted to paint themselves. So there was no paint in that $100,000 number that I threw out. However, if you are planning to work with a construction loan, you can choose to finance your paint. So whether you're having us paint, you're having a third party paint, or you just want to buy the materials and paint yourself, that's an option to you. And then there were things outside the cost of the house. So I always say in my original spiel, like when I first meet with a customer, this home, as it's priced, is considered move-in ready with the exception of 3 things: the paint, which you can choose to add, the refrigerator, and then the washer dryer. So those are additional costs to the cost of the home that you'll be bringing to the table. And then there's also the cost of the land and the cost of the site prep, which I like to talk a little bit more about site prep at the end, but site prep is kind of this just, kind of big umbrella of all the work that needs to take place in order to make your land house ready, basically. So permits, excavation, tree removal, maybe trenching, utilities, all that good stuff. So you've got your 3 cost components: your house, your site prep, your land. Hopefully that gave you more answers than question.
Yeah. We had another question. Oh, I just clicked past it. Let me go back here. Regarding the cost of the home and how to curb that with the increased costs of lumber right now. So that is another great question. Primarily what you have as far as options for budgeting is selecting your home strategically, I'm going to say. So what I recommend when I first start talking with folks, most of the time someone's come in, they've already been on the website, they've fallen in love with a home plan. And I actually recommend, let's look at the process with hard costs first. So things that I can't do anything about. So what is the land cost? We need to explore what that land needs. in order to have the house put on it, which would be your site development costs and local building requirements. Those are all things that are hard costs. So let's look at those. Let's figure out what those are so that we know what's left in your budget in order to put your home together. And then from there, we would select the home plan that fits the best and leaves you the room to do the upgrades that you have in mind. So you might not end up with the home plan that you fall in love with, but we can definitely go through that process so that you are finding a home plan that fits your needs and still fits your budget, even with the lumber cost changes. And our prices online are always going to be the most up-to-date costs, so that when you sit down with your HOC in your build area, you're going to be looking at real numbers and going over real information.
I love that answer. Okay, let's see. We've got Mel. Please talk about the basic steps of a feasibility study. Mel's coming with all the good questions today. So, feasibility study. So when you're looking at a new piece of property, a lot of times you'll see it says owner to do due diligence. So what we usually ask you to do or have your realtor do is to write an offer on the property with a 30-day feasibility period. And for those who don't know, that's like a grace period essentially. So you have 30 days to kind of find out everything you need to know about this property. And then if something comes up that's a red flag, or maybe the house that you love won't fit on the lot or what have you, if for any reason you decide to not go with that piece of property, you get your earnest money back and you keep shopping. So 30-day, sometimes it's called a due diligence period, feasibility period, or refundable earnest money period, all the same concept. But what we want you to do is basically call us the day your offer is accepted. Like, hey, we're under contract, we're in that feasibility period, let's do this. And we just want to hit the ground running. So right away, we're going to help you just research the heck out of this property. And what we want to know, first and foremost, is it zoned for building, or are there jurisdictional requirements we need to be aware of? Are there CC&Rs, HOA? What are the setbacks? Is it in a floodplain? So we've got kind of this list of stuff we just work our way through. Once we've cleared all of that, so at this point we're like, yep, on paper we can build here and we can build what you want to build here. Then we send a superintendent out to see the property with you. So that's when he can be like, okay, you know what, based on this terrain and this land, here's what you can do, here's your best options, kind of a thing. So this is all done in that 30-day grace period, so that if the superintendent goes out there and he's like, you know what, this makes me nervous, or I think this is perfect, you have time to kind of play around with your options and decide whether you want to proceed with that property or maybe keep looking for a new one.
Yeah. So Pierre just asked, Adair's plan prices, are they pretty standard per area for just the basic plans? So Pierre, I'm going to do a little interpretation there to assume that you're referring to, standard for the market in that area. So yes, we do price our home plans in each build area so that it is competitive for that market. There's usually reasons for costs in different markets, and those reasons would apply to us usually as well. So, oh yes, I interpreted that correct. Yay. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you for that, Pierre. So that is typically going to be priced competitively for that area, but they are going to vary from area to area. So my prices in the middle of Idaho are different from the prices for the same homes in the Boise area of Idaho. Same state, different counties. There's a lot of variations, but if you're looking just in that area and comparing to that area, then yes, it's going to be competitive for that market.
Okay.
Okay.
Should we keep rolling?
I think so.
Okay, so we are just refresher leaving this bedroom. Straight across the hall, you can see this half bathroom. So we'll see if we get into the half bath much. or maybe I just threw you for a loop entirely and we're going to go up the stairs first. So this is the stairs to that bonus room over the garage. And for those of you who weren't here at the beginning of this, these guys decided to add a third car bay to their garage. So this bonus room is ginormous because of course they just took it and extended it over that added third bay. So really good size room, nice and bright. They've got the recessed lights running along the ceiling there, and then that giant Craftsman trim wrapped window. Oh, I like to pause here because these little cut down doors you see are attic access, and everybody loves storage rooms. So you've got not only this giant, awesome, usable space, you've got access to attic. Okay, headed back down the stairs. We used to go out and film these videos ourselves, and now luckily for everyone, we send a professional videographer because going down the stairs would get everyone car sick. By the time you got to the bottom, no one's really paying attention anymore. So this is a way better. Okay, so now in this little half bath here, we've got that luxury vinyl plank in here. And then they've got, in a half bath, we just do a pedestal sink and the toilet as a standard, plus, you know, your toilet paper, towel bar, mirror, that good stuff. You can choose to do like a 30-inch cabinet base instead. Some people like to have that little extra storage in their half bath. And then this is just a nice straight shot into the garage from the utility room. So let's pause here for a minute. So as a standard, our utility rooms are just kind of blank slate, you know, ready for whatever you want to use them for. You've got, of course, your washer dryer connections, and then we'll do a 5-foot shelf over the washer dryer area. These guys decided to have us do cabinets instead. So they've got that naughty alder tobacco stain again, uppers all the way across the room, and then some lowers next to where the washer dryer will go. So they have a little folding space, and then they added this utility sink here. This is a super deep utility sink. And then their luxury vinyl floors again. And here is their garage. And I have a couple of things to point out in this garage. So you can see, of course, we've got our overhead doors, which are standard. We always provide the door, of course. We now, as part of our base package, do the door openers as well. So your garage doors are covered. Just recently, we added this, finishing the garage like this, so drywall all the way around is now part of our standard base package. These guys took it a step further and did the texture so they could paint it and make it match the house. Oh no, I thought there was more garage angle. But the only other thing I wanted to say about the garage is that as a standard, we like to put the water heater in there. So if you would have turned the corner a little bit with that video, you could have seen the standard 50-gallon heat pump style water heater. These guys upgraded into a 75-gallon propane water heater. And then another thing I like to point out is the furnace. So as a standard, we've got a heat pump in all of the base packages for our homes. So heat pump outside, furnace inside. In this particular house, they have the furnace suspended from the ceiling in the garage, which in Oregon we can't do anymore. Can you do that in Idaho, Taya?
Yes, we can still do that in Idaho, but there are rumors that the code will change to negate that option sometime in the future.
Okay, yeah, so Washington's was last year and Oregon, so now Oregon code says that the furnace has to be in heated living space. So we've got kind of these designated closets, if you look at our plans now, where the furnace is intended to go inside all of the houses. This, I think there's a better shot, but this is like the focal point of this house. They have this beautiful, just exposed cedar, clawfoot design patio cover. And I'm just gonna keep playing and hope that there's a little bit better shot of it. Yes. So tongue and groove all under the inside, just super pretty. And that is it. Do we have any other questions?
We have one question. Anna just asked, what kind of insulation does Adair use? So Adair uses faced batt insulation. We're going to start out with R21 in your exterior walls. You have R30 under your floors and then R49 in the ceilings. So you start out with a very substantial insulation package. It's pretty rare that I've ever heard of anybody changing that.
I have had customers do. Yeah, I've had customers do the blown in. So I had a couple customers who did the blown in all throughout the house. And then as a standard, we do all of the exterior walls insulated, but I've had customers who want to do some soundproofing and they add the interior walls as well.
Yeah. I had an item that I thought might be useful to point out. From the exterior photos, when we first approached the house, you can see, there we go, perfect, thank you. You can see that the home itself is what we do. It's our bread and butter. We do foundation to finish. And then the preparations outside of the foundation are going to be things that are usually specific to the homeowner's preference or the property. And so you can see that they do not have a driveway poured at this point. I'm not sure if they were planning on pouring a driveway. Katie, you might know that. But they also don't.
They might be. They might just go with the gravel. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, some people prefer that. There's a lot in that in my area of Idaho. Lots of people just prefer the gravel. And then you can also see under the covered patios that it does not have, you know, a poured cement pad or a deck immediately part of the process, because that can vary from property to property. So just thought I'd point that part out. I usually have people with questions on that at some point in a discussion.
Yeah, good call on that, which is actually probably a really great time to talk about site prep and turnkey versus owner equity. But in that, earlier I was talking about when the superintendent comes out and visits your site with you. So while he is there, he or she is there, they're also going to kind of make sure you have a good idea of everything that needs to happen to your land in order for it to be house ready. And this is, you know, excavation, trenching, putting in a driveway, maybe bringing in power, maybe a well, septic, just totally dependent on the property. But you have two options as far as performing this work or having this work done. You can do what's called owner equity, which is where you essentially say, great, I understand, you know, we're going to give you the tools, but you're going to be in charge of going out and gathering bids and finding contractors to do the site prep portion of the project on your own. There are so many pros to going that way. There's lots of savings opportunities. It's kind of your big chance to get that sweat equity. So invest your time. We'll give you the tools, we'll help you, but you're essentially in charge of the site prep period when you go that route. The alternative is what we call turnkey, which is where we say, you know, maybe it's out of your comfort zone to kind of take on the site prep portion. Maybe you just don't have the time. There's so many reasons, but turnkey is where you say, you know what, I'd love for Adair to do the bulk of my site prep. I'd like to be minimally involved, essentially. So that's an option to you as well. If Adair is going to do turnkey, we're going to do the excavation, we're going to do your trenching, we're going to do the finished concrete. So I just wanted to point out too that either route you go, your construction loan is intended to pay for it. So if you choose to hire Billy's Excavation, we would just include that bid in your home order, and then your construction loan will pay for those guys. Or if you choose to go turnkey, your construction loan will pay us to do the site prep. So lots of options for getting that prep work done, but we'll give you the tools to make it happen. Looks like we've got a couple more. Oh, okay. Do you have anything else? Did we miss anything, Taya?
I don't believe so. We've covered the basics. At the risk of sounding repetitive, a lot of things just depend on your locale, your property, and your budget, essentially. So I encourage everyone, if you're even remotely curious about how this might work for you, just stop in and chat with a homeownership counselor. Oh, okay. So Anna just asked a question. She's asking, what kind of savings can we expect with equity versus turnkey? So Katie, I'll let you talk on that one since you were covering those.
Okay, that is a great question. I don't know that I even want to throw out numbers because there are so many variables. I mean, we have customers come to us with maybe just a standard city lot. So flat, utilities at the curb, sidewalks already there, ready to build on kind of a lot. And then we have customers who come to us and they've just bought this F2 property that has a conditional use permit and it's undeveloped, nothing on it. It's on a hillside covered in trees. So I would think if you call your local branch, they could kind of give you an idea locally. But I am going to refrain from throwing out any numbers because it's too broad of a question.
Yeah. One of the things that I know folks typically, and the folks that I talk to in my build area, they're very curious about the equity position that you can end up with. And again, any kind of number situations are going to be super dependent and variable. But there are typically equity positions in our homes when you move in. So what that would mean is generally what folks end up paying for their project is lower than what the home and the property is worth after we're done. So again, generally, rather than moving into a home and having a period where you're kind of paying to catch up before you build equity, you're typically going to be in a better position. Okay, so sorry, go ahead, Katie.
No, that was good. I totally agree. It seems to be for the most part, at least in this market here where I'm at, which is kind of Willamette Valley, Oregon, just such a better value to build over buying. I mean, how many people can say they just bought a brand new house and they're moving in with a 26% equity position, if not more. So, yeah, so many great perks that come with building.
Yeah. So there's another question. Marla is wondering how long it took to build this particular home. So do we know that, Katie?
How long? Sorry, I was reading Pierre's questions and I wasn't listening. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, no, that's okay. Marla's wondering how long it took to complete this home.
Okay, this is actually a really good segue into Pierre's question. So from the time they ordered, there was about a 4-month pre-construction phase, which is where we're getting their plans together, we're getting permits together, and then they're actually prepping the site for the house because they did go owner equity route. The build itself for this one was right about 5.5 months, which that is, they built in the summer, they built kind of before things really went crazy. So at least here in Cresswell, our average build time has gone up to about 7 months. But very much dependent on your area because Adair builds all over this side of the country. So totally dependent, totally different build time in the Seattle area versus, little old Cresswell. So very specific to your area.
Perfect. I'm going to let you just segue right into Pierre's question.
Okay. All right. I love the site prep questions. And I should say I am building with Adair right now. So I've been talking about site prep for years and now I'm very intimately familiar with it. So I understand the anxiety in working with contractors, especially in this market. What we do, so what you would do as a owner equity route is up front, kind of in that 30-day feasibility period we talked about. That's when we want you to be reaching out to contractors and getting bids and forming those relationships and kind of locking in who you think you might want to work with. And then you'll have a time frame. So when you order the house, you'll have okay, we know we're going to need our contractors to be here between June and August 5th, or that was a really weird time frame, but still, you'll have a couple months of window time so you can go promptly back to your contractor and be like, great, you know what, we want to work with you. We need you to put us on our schedule sometime between June 5th and July 20th. So the idea is that you give them enough heads up that they can get you on the schedule, and you're not going to be fighting to find them when the time comes. And then also, I think this is true for all branches. Hey, you can confirm, but we're going to give you a list of contractors that we've had great success with. So we keep track, like customers who say have used Ryan Black Excavation. They're like, we loved him. It was a great experience. We're going to put them on our referral list. So the list of contractors we suggest to you are tried and true. So there's a little peace in mind there as well.
Yeah, I can confirm that. We definitely want to have as many resources as possible for our customers so that, you know, we can help coach you through a successful process. There's definitely a lot of things that happen when you're building a home. So anytime we can help or simplify or streamline things for you, we're going to step up and have those resources. And on the flip side, you know, if you do build with us and you happen to have a poor experience with someone, we would love to know that so that we are aware of, you know, the performance of the people that we are recommending for our customers.
Great.
So Anna had another question. She's asking, does Adair charge a fee to manage the site development portion for turnkey?
So it's not a fee per se, but I mean, I want to say that's kind of where your additional costs in turnkey come from, is just us taking on the management and doing the legwork rather than you taking on the management and doing the legwork. So yeah, so there are some costs involved in, you know, putting the project into someone else's hands.
Yeah. Typically what I run into in my build area is that there's a turnkey program that we would include into your home plan, which has a cost on it. And so what you would be looking at, Anna, is if you had a property, so property A, and you go through, we look at it, if you're going to do a turnkey, you know, this is the amount. If you decided to do owner equity, you know, maybe you're looking at, I don't know, 25,000 for your site preparations. So the difference between would be your potential savings if you go with the owner equity versus, you know, having us there. So the excavation has to get done. The excavator is still going to get paid, whether it's you or us managing that portion of it. But when you have Adair take over, when you have anybody take over for a portion of a project, there's more labor involved. And so those people who are managing that have a cost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think too, one good thing is that you don't have to make the decision until you order the house. So if in your feasibility period, you're like, I'm going to gather some bids and find out what it would cost me to have Billy do my excavation, and then I'm going to compare it to Adair's turnkey cost. So you can decide for yourself, like, hey, my savings are not as significant as I'd hoped. I'd rather just for peace of mind have Adair manage it. Or you can say, oh, wow, you know, my savings are significant. I'm going to take this on.
Yeah. There's a lot of things during your planning portion where you're going to talk with your HOC a lot, a lot, because there's so many options, there's so many portions, there's so many ways that things can get done that, you know, if you want to look at different costs or different pathways to accomplish things, we're going to be right there with you, helping you look at all those options so that you can decide what's best for you.
I love that. Yeah, our titles are home ownership counselors for a reason. It's not like you come in and we sell you a house and you leave. We are going to be, you know, kind of your guiding light through the process. We don't expect that people come to us having built houses before and knowing everything there is to know. So we are here. We want you to use us. And just as a plug, you know, we do this appointment called a new presentation, which is like a good starting point, a good a good first appointment. And that is where we just go through the process. We give you an idea of what your budget is going to be based on what you want to build, and just kind of help you decide if it's a feasible path for you. So if you are even considering a build, or even if you're looking for a home and you're not finding what you want, I would encourage you to reach out to your local office, have that appointment, get the facts specific to what you want to do, and just see maybe it's the best route for you. So use us by all means.
Yep.
And on that note, I don't see any more questions. Do you?
I see no more questions. Guys, if you have any questions, fire them off real quick.
We'll let this play for 30 seconds and then we'll call it a day.
Alrighty.
Go get ready to celebrate Independence Day.
Woohoo.
Long sunny weekend. I guess, how's the weather over there where you are?
Oh, we are warm for Idaho. We've been up in the high 90s, so it's actually really nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
How do your chickens feel about that?
Well, they have a water trough to go play in, so they don't really mind the heat.
So cute.
They're all over the place, so it's fun.
I love it. Okay, all right. Well, I think this is a good time to wrap up. This video will be on YouTube, so if you want to go back through and watch it later, it's available. But thank you so much for co-hosting, Taya.
Absolutely. It was
Let's
great.
do it again.
Yeah. Thank you guys for all your questions.